12901 on the 14th day of September 2009 at 6:30 p.m. concerning the establishment of the new Cumberland Head Sewer District. And whereas on October 5th, 2009, a petition pursuant to Town Law Article 12A was duly represented and requests a number of owners of taxable real property of said proposed Cumberland Head Sewer District requesting a referendum on the question of proposed establishment. Therefore, whereas on October the 5th, 2009, the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board duly adopted Resolution 09-310, scheduling a special town election to be held on Wednesday, December 9th, 2009, in the matter of establishment of the Cumberland Head Sewer District. And whereas a special election was held on December 9th, 2009 at Cumberland Head Fire Department, 38 Firehouse Lane, Cumberland Head, New York, between the hours of 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. Therefore, be resolved to receive and place on file the town clerk's official report to the supervisor indicating the return of votes cast as the official record of said vote. And it is further resolved that the proposition to create the new Cumberland Head Sewer District was not approved by the eligible voters of the proposed district, and therefore it will not be established.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second. Mr. Rendick?
Yes.
Any discussion? Ricky, did you send, or do you anticipate sending a copy of this to Mr. Chapman?
Not yet. I didn't do it yet. But
With the resolution after it's, okay, good. And I'd note Ricky's compilation of the data from the vote is on the table in the corner if anyone so desired to review that.
Bernie, the only thing I'll say in the fourth, whereas I don't think Cumberland Head, New York is an actual address. I think it's probably Plattsburgh, New York.
Yeah.
Sure it is. Good catch. We will amend.
Everybody's going to be competing with them.
I can see this going
I'll have to be sharper then.
I'm almost excited, when they go out of here, they're going to be good. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. And I think I mentioned to you all the time, let me know before, Monday night, but
Sometimes you don't catch them.
you just don't catch them. And this evening, reading the one that you caught as, what was it, board instead of boat? I read that along also. I never, my eyes saw it, but the brain didn't.
Bernie, they like to do it on camera, believe me.
Yeah, all right. That could well be. Thank you, Counselor. That makes me feel
I
much
can
better.
point out a number of them at the work session.
See, of course, I don't write any of these.
Did we hire him for 2 meetings?
Thank you. Good catch, Paul. Anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gerard Rendick.
Yes.
Mark Mannix,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes. Resolution 10065.
Whereas the Housing Trust Corporation administers New York State Home Program using federal funds to expand the supply of decent, safe, and affordable housing within the state. Whereas the Home Program funds a variety of activities through partnerships with counties, towns, cities, villages, private developers, community-based nonprofit housing organizations to provide funds to help qualified homeowners make certain repairs as indicated by the individual contract agreement, with funds distributed in accordance with the needs and priorities as identified by the state's consolidated plan. And whereas the Town of Plattsburgh 2008 Home Grant Project has identified more qualified owner-occupied homes in need of resources than were able to be accommodated. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to execute an application to the DHCR Home Grant Program for housing rehabilitation on behalf of the Town of Plattsburgh with the New York State Division of Housing and Community Renewal, and enter into a contract with the LaBerge Group of 4 Computer Drive West, Albany, New York, for a fee not to exceed $4,400 to prepare the said grant application on behalf of the Town of Plattsburgh. And it is further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any contract or agreement in connection with the DHCR application, and it is further designated as further authorized to request and expend funds from the DHCR pursuant to contract and/or agreement. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the town of Plattsburgh bookkeeper and the LDC CEO CFO.
We have a motion. Mr. Lemoy, second, Mr. Wood. Any discussion?
Just a question, I don't know why I didn't pick it up earlier. In the next to the last resolved, we've got that supervisors authorized directly to execute any contract and/or agreement. And then it says, in his designee is further authorized to request and expend funds. Do we have a specific designee here?
That's why this copies to the bookkeeper and LDC. Mr. Correll has been
Okay, so
our
that's-
official bookkeeper that is helping with the disbursement of the funds and the approvals.
I
and so on.
assumed as much, but I didn't want to leave it at that. I wanted to basically get it into the record, so thank you.
No, good question. I would also note, I don't know if you got the actual authorization to proceed. I spoke with Pat Scarlett last week, and Pat's a very accountable lady, has written the grants we've been able to be very successful with, and she was beginning to formulate the letters of support. And we were talking about the project in anticipation of the resolution surfacing this evening. And she had a question that about the charge. And in the authorization to proceed that came from the LaBerge offices, the fee is $5,400. And I have crossed that out, made it $4,400, reduced it by 20%, based on conversations with LaBerge, and that this isn't the first one we've done. A lot of the process and data is certainly very similar. And I mentioned that to Pat, and she began to laugh. She said, well, that's easy for RJ to say because he doesn't have to do all the work. I've got to still, we're putting letters out again, but all these letters have to be written again, et cetera. So my comment to you with that is, as much as sometimes we think, well, you did it before, you just do it again, when you talk to the people who are actually doing it, there's still work. But she agreed that if he was, what he was going to pay her to do, it wasn't going to be changed, so he doesn't want as much from us, she didn't really care. But it underscores the fact that they were willing to give us a little bit of a break in writing this, and we certainly are going to have very high expectations that this one gets approved, because there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And I appreciate all of you. You looked over the proposals. There were some options this time, and I think continuing to focus on what's worked for us, housing rehabilitation, was a very wise decision. It's a very good investment in our community. The rehabilitated house will be there maybe for another family, another generation when the project's over. And it really does pick up the community. So I applaud all of you for taking this as serious as you have, and hope you all vote yes. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Mark Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Wish we could add a few more decimal places to that kind of money to help the community. I know you all do too. Resolution 66.
Whereas it is necessary for the town of Plattsburgh to provide risk management services and municipal property and liability insurance. Therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to renew its agreement with the Cool Insurance Agency Incorporated, principally located at P.O. Box 2153, Glen Falls, New York 12801, to provide risk management services as an insurance broker for the town to provide municipal insurance coverage. And it is further resolved, after careful review of the town's needs and market options, as recommended in a letter dated January 15, 2010, from John C. Burdick, CIC, and Vice President, Property and liability insurance for the period January 20th, 2010 to January 20th, 2011 shall be provided by NYMAR reciprocal for a premium of $129,172 with charges to be made with additional of premiums. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget office.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne. Any discussion?
Yeah. Have you got a different copy than I do?
No, I don't. I have the same Space Odyssey.
Okay,
We
well,
will
I was
correct
thinking
in
that that's
2011.
good. We won't have to do any more for insurance until 2011. And I thought, boy, that'll save us a lot of money in the town. You know, I can't imagine what the premiums will be by then. So I think we take a one off of there.
We will do
And
that.
then the next, for a premium of that with changes, he read to be made.
You read it right.
And
He didn't read what was there.
I assume that that's what it's supposed to be,
With
but
changes.
I don't understand this made with additions of premiums.
We have, Mr. Mannix and I went through this pretty much line by line, page by page, and there was some discussion of changes. We had some discussion about property and equipment that may or may not be on the itemized list within the policy. So there may be a small change within the premium if additions are made.
I think the term, though, that Tom's referring to, the changes could be up and the changes could result in the premium going down. So what you may want to say is with changes to be made subject to alteration of premiums. In other words, we could ask for a reduction in coverage, say we asked for a higher deductible on something, then they would reduce our premium if we did that. If we asked for something to be covered that isn't covered, they would come up with a charge for that. And it's just reflecting that they're giving you a price, but the price is subject to change if you change the coverage.
So I might amend that to read the amount subject to changes
Within-
being made
Right,
with an
changes.
addition or reduction of premium.
No, subject to be changed, with, subject to change of any of the insurance, addition or deletion of any of the insurance.
Right, which will cause an addition,
Yeah, I don't like the word with
increase or
addition of
reduction of
premiums.
premium.
And, you know, and it says,
I
it
think
doesn't read very well.
No, it
between the
doesn't.
word with and changes, just insert the word policy. With policy changes to be made subject to alteration of premiums. I think that takes care of it.
Oh, if you're the insurance person. I did solve it.
I hate to tell you, so I was an English major too.
Okay, with policy changes to be
I
made,
wasn't.
subject to alterations of premiums. Subject to an alteration of premiums, okay? Any other discussion? The other thing, we mentioned in the work session that the rate actually went down over the previous year. And we do have a capital revenue sharing, again this year, of approximately $6,000, give or take a few. So that was good, and certainly our assets. But one of the comments that was made was that the town's claim history has been very positive. Our safety within the job, day-to-day work of our employees has been, safety level has been very good. Regular and routine safety meetings and so on. So that's a good thing.
I would just pose a question to council. Are we required to have an amount in this resolution? Because with an amount in there, I mean, we've got an amount in there, and then we're saying it's subject to additions or deletions of the policy. Could we just simplify this by saying that it'll be provided by NYMER reciprocal with changes to the policy being made subject to the alteration of premiums and not have an amount? I mean, we have to have insurance.
Yeah. Well, I think this is just my thought, I think you want an amount to give you sort of a benchmark of what it's going to be. It may be, maybe a couple thousand more, a couple thousand less, but I think for purposes of transparency, if we're going to accept this contract, I think people have a right to know approximately what the cost of the premium would be.
All right. I just didn't know with having an exact amount in there, if it creates a problem, should the, it's never a problem.
Well, we're saying that's the amount, I mean, it may not change. We're just saying that's the amount, and there may be, as Marty said, some additions, perhaps some deletions, but I think that it's helpful for people to know that the premium for the town of Plattsburgh's insurance will be approximately that.
All right, thank you.
And it will be less than last.
And
And I think following the recent fire in the town garage in Dana Mora, one of the things that we verified is the town of Plattsburgh has replacement cost coverage, which is very important.
Very important.
The premium's a little more, but,
Not on everything.
and that was equipment to.
That's equipment up to 10 years of age.
Was it 10 years?
10 years.
Okay.
And that's that's an issue that's emerged over the past few years. I mean, you have the actual cash value, if you will, of a truck that's 15 years old. They might have bought the truck for $120,000, maybe less than that, and now you're going to have to replace it with or maybe $235,000 truck. So what the insurance companies have started to say is, we'll give you a replacement cost on your vehicles as long as they're less than 10 full years old. After that, you get actual cash value. They insure both ways.
Okay. Any other discussion?
And I have to make a comment when
Yep.
Bernie was talking about our fine, experience and low claims and whatever. As Peter was making that comment to us, Fred entered the room with pictures of the accident where one of the snowplows, a car came through the intersection. It wasn't the snowplow's fault. It was the person driving the car came through the intersection, but it was just,
Good timing.
Couldn't
timing was
have been
priceless.
better. Just happen to have our insurance agent here to follow up with this. Okay, roll call.
Thomas Woods,
Yes.
George Benedette.
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Now, the next resolution, the last resolution of the evening, was not brought to you during the work session. Dave came to us with this Friday or today, I guess, and I said, okay. It is something that we have talked about at some length. It's a position that has been vacant. I didn't think there was anything, that would require any lengthy discussion or research on your part. But we're well aware this is one you haven't seen before, and if it creates discomfort, we can certainly do what we need to do and discuss it next Monday. But with that said, I'd like to bring it to the table, Resolution 67.
Whereas a vacancy exists in the position of water and wastewater facilities mechanic in the water and wastewater department. And whereas Ron Rushford has been employed in the water and wastewater department since August 1999 and has held the position of water and wastewater maintenance worker 2 since August 2002. Whereas Assistant Water and Wastewater Superintendent Paul Wright and Supervisor Jason Covey have stated that Mr. Rushford has exhibited many of the traits necessary for the position, including his leadership for scheduling an emergency work situation and his knowledge of equipment and related diagnostics, and has proven to be an asset to the department, have recommended him for the existing vacancy, maintenance facilities mechanic position. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize the hiring and appointment of Franz Rushford to fill the vacant position of water, wastewater facilities mechanic at an hourly rate of $21.54 as indicated in the current negotiated pay scale on the second year offset, the same as his current position. And it is further resolved and pending civil service approval, the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents for the permanent position of Franz Rushford to the position of water wastewater facilities mechanic in the water and wastewater department with a probationary period not to exceed 12 months. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, David Comfort, Director of Water and Wastewater Department, and that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service final approval and filing.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second. Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Any discussion?
Why do we have probationary
I agree.
period not to exceed 12 months? Usually it's 6 months.
6
for-
months.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's,
I think it usually is 6 months.
and
We'll amend it.
I mean, he's a long time in
Employee,
service
sure.
employee. It
Right.
makes
New position is
more
6 months.
sense to me. I think that's a,
So we're gonna change.
Change
the
that to 6.
Second resolve?
Yes.
Yeah. Then we'll just, guys, we'll need to put the EDs on recommend.
Yes.
Then I have a question. I know you state here that that's hourly rate is indicated by the current negotiated pay scale.
Correct.
Second year off step.
Correct.
You've got the chart below. That puts them at the top end of the,
There's 3 off-year steps illustrated. In there, in your photocopy, if you look underneath water, wastewater, maintenance worker 2,
yep,
the 2065 has a line under it, that's where he currently is. And
okay.
if you follow down that column, he stays in the same column to water, wastewater, maintenance mechanic, that's where the 2154 increase would be for that position. I discussed this with Dave, and again, given the number of years he's been here and everything. It just, there are 8 steps in their salary agreement. It isn't noted at the top as it is normally. And there are 3 years off the 8 steps. We say off step, not to imply there's a step 9, a step 10, and a step 11, because they tend to have increments with
But
them.
just that they're at the maximum, plus the percentage increase each year.
Right. 8, you're right. 8 is the final step, and then you get the percentage,
you've been here 10 years.
given the current agreement. Anything else? Roll call?
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
George Renadette?
Yes.
Martin Manick?
Yes.
Paul Moy?
Yes.
Bernie Bauer?
Yes. 2 things. I'm going to call for a motion to move into an executive session. Before I do, as this is going out, I'm sure all of you, like many of us, have been watching the news lately with the unfolding events in Haiti, just terribly devastating. I know now they're saying the life loss is over 200,000, and just unbelievable stories about humanity and the outpouring of support that is happening, as seems to always happen, even in very difficult economic times from this country, is kind of reassuring that we truly do function in a very humanitarian way. And I know, Marty, with your work in Nicaragua, it's good to see that we have a very global view of the sacredness of life and well-being. So certainly our thoughts go out to those people, and our prayers, and we wish them the best that can be done in an extremely difficult situation. And every time I see things, and I suspect they speak for all of you, we do stop and count our own blessings to a great extent. We also see how fragile not only life is, but how quickly things can change. And I know I seen the San Andreas Fault in California, what a terrible, devastating situation that could bring within our own shoreline. So anyway, we do send our thoughts out to Haiti and the many suffering people that are out there. I would ask for a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move that.
Can I just bring
Yes.
one point up
I'm
before we
sorry.
do that? The agenda calls for resolution 1068, We did have in our packets that resolution. I didn't know if that was one that was pulled at the last minute.
Yeah, one behind me.
It says on it 1067.
I don't have
The
a
title-
s-
The title is the same, the home request number 7 for payment.
Oh, yes, I did work with Mr. Corral on that. I don't appear to have that in my packet.
That's on,
Do you have that one,
it's on the
Ricky?
agenda, and I have it here, only it's titled 1067.
Well, we need to pass that for payment. I don't know how that got. Does anyone else have a home?
I don't have,
No.
I got it. I'll
Was
share
it
it
in
with
your box?
there you go.
Well, we should do that, and
Okay.
I don't know where the disconnect is, but I do recall doing that one with,
This is
Mr.
1068, and you got it in your packet?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how I ended up with the only copy, but
He's got more time to grade than you do.
He's got influence, that guy, you know? I saw that today, we're taking pictures, yeah.
Resolution 10-68. Resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby grant and approve payments in the amount of $21,097.02 as payment for the DHCR disbursement request number 11 for work related to the project listed as part of the town of Plattsburgh, New York State Home Program Grant Project 2008-3068. It is further resolved that all the costs related to said project work have been inspected and approved by the designated rehabilitation specialist for said work, and that the funds be allocated from the housing trust per the approved quotations for completed work. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to make said payment for the project in accordance with the agreement. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer.
a motion.
so moved.
Mr. Rennedack, second.
Second.
Mr. Lenoy, any discussion? Mr. Crowell did come to me with that today, and I knew that was prepared. It wasn't in my packet. As we've done before, we're trying to get that money in the hands of the local contractors fast.
This is
Mr.
to
Corral
pay the
does,
contract.
this is to pay the
These are
local
the
contractors.
small contractors.
You bet.
How many, was it for, you know?
That sheet wasn't attached, but
I don't have the other paper.
I can, if you want, I can go look for a copy on my desk. There were, I don't remember.
You got it, right?
No, I
That was for a number of
Local
contractors,
contractors that have done the work, the work's been
don't. I think there
inspected.
was 3 of them on
I don't remember. I remember one in particular, but I
some of the
don't.
same ones that we were paid before.
Oh, yes,
it. Yeah.
I've done other homes besides.
yes, yeah. That group of contractors are doing the whole project.
So we had 3 more finished then.
They're at different levels of completion. Their materials they bought need to be paid as well as their labor. It's the very same thing we've done a couple
Right.
of times. Okay. Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Benedette.
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes. Thank you, Gerard. I'm awful glad you had that there. We would have made them wait a few more days. And
if it wasn't on the agenda, I wouldn't have brought it up, but it was on the agenda for tonight, so I figured it was just
Yep.
misnumbered, and that we should bring it up.
Well, I'm going to respectfully say it might be on my desk because I know we dealt with it, but it wasn't in my packet or in the extras in the red folders. So.
Hey, Jerry, where'd you get that up-to-date agenda?
Bernie, before you ask for the
Tell ya.
executive thing,
Yes.
I got one more thing. I actually ran across this, this weekend, it was posted here at Town Hall. There's a winter carnival going to be held at May Courier Center, January 30th. It's sponsored by the Sunrise Rotary Club, but it looks like it's co-sponsored by the Town of Plattsburgh Recreation Department. There's going to be ice skating, snow sculpturing, horse-drawn sleigh rides, snowshoes, and cross-country skis provided by the Town of Plattsburgh. So it looks like an afternoon of family fun, and the admission is only $2. So it looks like a pretty reasonable thing to go do. Noon to 4 o'clock. It looks like there's going to be refreshments there. kickball on snowshoes. I'm not sure how well that works, but.
There's 30 balls.
And also a frying pan toss, and I heard that maybe you're the target that they're going to look at throwing them at. I'm not sure.
Again, you can't believe all the
Oh, what's the date on that again?
January 30th.
January 30th?
Yep.
And we're putting Tom in charge of snow.
It's a snow for the challengers.
Well, our highway
It's a great
department-
idea if we get some snow.
highway department was dropping snow at the playground. I went by, I said, what on earth are they doing
They're trying
dropping
to-
snow down May Courier? They were building, some
They're trying to
hills
build
to
a
play
snow-
on. and-
A snow hill, and right now it looks more like a
Make
mud
that all
hill.
of mine.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Paul. Does anyone have anything else? We will be coming back. I don't anticipate any other resolutions that we might have missed, but as we know, that could happen, I guess.
Then I would make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss the work history of a certain individual, and also we're going to be discussing contract negotiations.
Two individuals.
Two individuals.
Okay, that's a motion by Mr. Renadet. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? The roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
George Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Ernie Bassett.
Yes, we will be moving to executive session at 7:45.
Well,
I'm on the mend, though.
So we're back, right?
Back, live and in person. Okay, need a motion to come out of executive
So moved.
session. Mr. Wood, second.
second.
Mr. Renadet. Any discussion? Should be noted, no action was taken at that time. We get a roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Ernie Bassett.
Yes, I'll note we came out of executive session at 9:27. That is all that I have on my agenda. I don't know if anyone has anything else this evening. If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
He said yes.
Oh, okay. Thomas Wood, Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Ernie Bassett.
Yes, we'll stand adjourned at 9:28. Drive
Okay, you
safe.
should mix up those names every now and then, so Tom doesn't jump on you.
Sometimes we do, there are
Yeah.
ghosts from the past that show up in the...
There you go.
I'll never know how that happens. It does. I've gotten a little smarter.
This is the first time that we've had a work
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board, the semi-monthly meeting for January 19, 2010, to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Bernie Bassett.
Here.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Gerard Renadette.
Here.
Mark Manick.
Here.
Paul Lemoyne.
Here.
James Pompey.
Here.
Rick Collins.
Resolution 01048.
Resolved that the minutes of December 28, 2009 and January 4, 2010 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
A motion,
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion?
Yes, I just have two things that I'd like to point out on the January 4th. I think that we had some people taking the oath of office at the beginning of the meeting, and that's not noted at anywhere on this. Also, there was the one, instead of a meeting called to order at 6:33, it should have been a public hearing. Public hearing was called to order at 6:33.
Yep.
And then under the further notice, we need to change the Monday, January 4th to, what year is it, 2010? Yeah, okay. And we need to put the time down. I think it was supposed to be 6:30. No, 6:30.
No, I think it was 6:35 was the posted
Okay.
date.
And then,
Call to order.
there was also another public hearing, and that also should read the same way. It's a public hearing instead of a meeting was called to order. That would be, after resolution number 12, it should say the public hearing was called to order at 7:03 by the presiding officer of the Town of Plattsburgh. And again, change the date and the time. And that one was supposed to be for 7, right?
Yes,
If I recall.
Yep.
those will be amended. Anything else? Have a roll call?
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Mark Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, this portion of our meeting where we ask if anyone would like to address the board to do so, please stating their name and address, and keeping the comments to 5 minutes. And if not, we move forward. Resolution 01049.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Art Rowe, Building Maintenance Supervisor for the month of December 2009.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Lemoyne, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
The repair job, the repair job that you did downstairs outside of the courts was done very well. I don't know if anybody's saw it before. We had a problem with some water coming up through the concrete, and that was, tile was taken up, floor was fixed, it was patched. There's no more water problem, and hardly even noticed that the repair was even made, so that's a good job done.
You'd also note, thank you, Gerard, and, actually that had been repaired multiple times. We sort of decided this time, let's fix it. And that required a little more extensive work with the line, but I will pass that on, I'm sure it'll be appreciated. Also, if you notice number 18 in his report, LED lamps have been installed on the exterior to the south end of the building. Put a couple up to see how they work. As you all are aware, they're expensive. They save a lot of energy. The lighting, we believe, is very good, but we wanted to truly have an opportunity to evaluate the lighting and so on. And, ideally, we would be able to continue the transition, maybe even find some nice CERTA funds. But we have explored that. We've explored a little bit with interior lighting. But again, the cost to make the transition is not inexpensive. And the other thing.
They do last longer though, don't
Oh, yes, they do. I
they?
mean,
So eventually, we're going to,
eventually, I suspect the savings far exceed the investment, but it would probably exceed all of our terms of office to realize that. Marty, Marty has been looking into natural gas, and I have put that on the agenda for the work session. I don't know if you want to make any comment to that effect for general public information?
Just, looking at the issue, beginning to do some analysis to determine if it's cost effective for us to do it. My interest in that, and Tom was involved, we sit on the board for the senior housing unit, the LaFave apartments and whatever, and we did recently, last year, turn those hot water boilers from, we took out the electric fired boilers and put in natural gas boilers, and it's really working very well. It's much cleaner, a lot less cost as far as fuel is concerned. Obviously, you've got the expense of the boiler, and you've got your savings. You've got to apply that against the cost of the boilers and see how long it takes you to amortize it. But at least where we are so far, we're extremely pleased. And this hasn't been a terribly cold winter. I'm sure I'll hear about that from somebody, but it really hasn't been a terribly cold winter. We haven't had that 23 below stuff, and yet we're seeing a substantial savings in the natural gas versus the fuel oil.
The information, and again, Marty will share that with us in the work session, but the information from Jurgen over, comparing fuel oil over natural gas is kind of a no-brainer, but like with the lights, we have to get here or there in a way that, makes it doable.
We have a couple of, I met with Art, and we have some installation elements that we have to look at. Number one, we have at least 3 furnaces that we would be looking at, because we don't have hot water in this building, we have hot air, okay? I think it's appropriate for, most politicians to work with hot air rather than hot water, but nevertheless, that's an element that we'll have to look at. Also, he was talking with me about the venting of those furnaces and how that has to be done. And it's a different, you can't run a long line as a vent like you can, from a hot furnace. You can insulate your pipe and you can run a lengthy exhaust line, but apparently you're not able to do that with natural gas. So we've got some elements that we have to study to determine where we are. And then, of course, if those elements seem to point us in that direction, then what would happen is we would end up having to go for RFPs and bids, et cetera. That kind of, the size of the purchase you'd be involved in there, we'd be going out to bid.
It's a good project. I'm really pleased you're putting your teeth into that. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Bert Renadette. Bernie Manic.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution 01050.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Stephen Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, for the month of December 2009.
Have a motion?
so moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette. Any discussion? Again, you can see the department continues to remain busy, which is a good sign. It's a healthy sign. Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Mark Manic.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution 01051.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Fred Levine, Superintendent of Highways, for the month of December
Have a
2009.
motion?
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution 01052.
Resolved to receive and place, resolved to receive and place on file year-end report for 2009 from the Justice Court.
Motion,
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix. Any discussion?
The amount of revenue that the taking each year seems to keep going up.
Yeah, I assume you got the copy of the note as well, that they're just about hit $1 million in 2009, as compared to 741,000 in the previous year. It's a busy place. Again, this is why we have budgeted for a part-time clerk in the courts, and we're just hoping our sales tax revenue and everything else stays normal, and we'll be able to fill that position.
It's far and away the busiest court in the area. I mean, you get your city court that's, you know, it's on the radio and whatever, what was on the city court, but these courts here are busier.
Yes, there are, with
Well-
fewer resources.
All we can hope is that people won't come as often.
Roll call, please.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 53.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Melanie Defiant, Recreation and Youth Services Director for the month of December 2009.
A motion,
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second?
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
You actually have one?
Yes.
Okay.
From $1 to $2. I really hope that it wasn't the fact that we raised it up that's dissuading anybody from utilizing it. This is something that still, I would say, is very, very affordable at $2.
I also, I think in part, that fears regarding the flu may have had more to do with depressing the number of families that were taking advantage of that. We'll see as we go forward.
Because this is by, the increase in charges was by no means a get-rich-quick scheme on the part of the board. We don't even break even on this with the $2 charge. It's just, it was time. I think the fees have been the same since we started it 5 or 6 years ago. It might even be longer than that. So we're just trying to stay current with some of our charges for everything else. So I just wanted to comment that I hope that wasn't the reason why.
We will have to monitor. Anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Marty Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 01054.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Phil Von Bargen, Planning and Engineering Department Head for the month of January 2010.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? My comment again, I just have to keep sharing that there is growth and development that's ongoing. There's new stuff coming in formally. There are conversations taking place that haven't made it to planning yet, but hopefully they will. So that's a good sign. We do get a sense that things are picking up a little bit too. I don't know if it's the spring warm-like weather that begins to make people anxious to get going, but hopefully 2010 will be a good year for job creation in the town of Plattsburgh. Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 01055.
Resolved to receive a report from Rick Collins, Town Clerk, for the month of December 2009.
A motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, Mr. Lemoy, any discussion? I think every report we've had, Rick, we've had increases. The first one, I think, has gone the other way a little bit.
Yeah.
but it didn't lose much ground from a year ago, so
No,
I'm sure we'll keep
it's
it.
an increase from the previous year.
Right. Yep. Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 56.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from David Comfort, Director of Water and Wastewater Department for December 2009.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Councilor Renadette, second.
Second.
Councilor Lemoyne. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 57.
Whereas Resolution 010-34 was passed for Charlotte Merrihew to be reappointed to the Town of Plattsburgh Zoning Board of Appeals, and whereas the term of office was incorrect and needs to be amended, therefore be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Plattsburgh, does hereby reappoint Charlotte Merrihew, a resident of the Town of Plattsburgh, to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term to expire December 31st, 2014. And it be further resolved that Ms. Merrihew take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the board chairman, Wally Day, and to Steve Imhoff, department head.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood. Any discussion?
Just a point on here. I don't know if Mrs. Mayhew has taken the oath of office yet, but I don't believe that this would require her to take it again, just in case. I think this is just to correct the date. So,
Yeah, I don't.
For the end of her term, she's taken it, and that's good for the year, and next year she'll take it again.
just as a point of order, I think in the first resolution she stated she had to take the oath of office if she's taken it. This wouldn't require her to take it again.
Has she been in, Rick?
Yes, she
So she's all set. Good. Anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 58.
Whereas a vacancy exists in the position of laborer in the Water and Wastewater Department, and whereas Kevin Keene has been employed in the Water and Wastewater Department as a temporary on-call employee since June 2009. And whereas Assistant Water and Wastewater Superintendent Paul Wright and Supervisor Jason Covey have stated that Mr. Keene has demonstrated a natural ability to learn and retain water and wastewater department operations, and has proven to be an asset to the department and the town as well, and have recommended him to an existing vacancy labor position. Therefore be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize hiring and appointing Kevin Keene to fill the vacancy position of labor as recommended by the Water and Sewer Department on step 1 on the pay scale. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents for the permanent position appointment of Kevin Keene to the position of laborer in the Water and Wastewater Department pending civil service approval with a probationary period of 6 months. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, David Comfort, Director of the Water and Wastewater Department, and that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service final approval and filing.
Have a motion? Mr. Lemoyne, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette. Any discussion?
Yeah, just take out whereas, in the third whereas, take out the word have in the next to the last line.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with it being there, but I can take it out. It's easier than arguing.
Or you can add an ED to the other if you want.
Anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 59.
Whereas the retirement of Edward McKinley, effective January 11, 2010, created a vacancy in the Highway Department. And whereas Mr. Dubray has been working in the Highway Department as a temporary basic, demonstrating the skills and talents required. Therefore, it is resolved to receive and place on file a letter dated January 11, 2010, from Fred Levine, Highway Superintendent, requesting the appointment of Tim Dubray as full-time permanent employee of the Town of Plattsburgh Highway Department on step 1 of the current pay scale, due to the retirement of Edward McKinley effective January 18, 2010. And it is further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents for the permanent appointment of Tim Dubray to the position of MEO2 pending civil service approval, with a probationary period of 6 months from its initial date of employment. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, Fred Levine, Highway Superintendent, and that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Clinton County Department of Personnel for civil service final approval and filing.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne. Any discussion?
Yeah, there's 2 dates here that he's retiring. Is it January 18th or January 11th?
He's retiring January 11. There were some commas, I think, missing in there, and I believe what they want is the appointment effective January 18. But what I was going to offer is that we amend this to read effective the first pay period following the passing of the resolution. That's a practice we've tried. Now, with hindsight, I didn't get a chance to speak to Mr. Levine, and given this is winter, et cetera, although he's in temporary. What we've tried to do recently is have the appointments take place the first pay period following the passing of the resolution. Makes a lot of things work a lot more smoothly, gives a little time for paperwork to be completed, following up with civil service and so on. And there was no date on the previous resolution for the appointment, so that one I didn't really have a problem with. We'll make it work that way. But on this one, I would like to amend it to read, as opposed to effective January 18, the appointment would be effective the first pay period following the resolution.
You missed my question. My question is, in the letter on the other side, it says
Oh, I didn't look at the letter.
that he's retiring as of January 10th, and our resolution says he's retired January 11th.
We gotta go with we don't have Mr. McKinley's letter, so it's hard to say which might be wrong.
I don't have a problem with just fixing it, just do whichever one's right.
I would go by the resolution.
We know if he's retiring the 10th or the 11th, the appointment, the first pay period following the resolution would still clear him, but we do need to clarify, and I'd rather find out exactly what his date is. We don't have the retirement letter. And then we will correct the resolution to reflect the date as according to Mr. McKinley. But I do believe it is the 11th for some reason.
The only other date that needs to be changed is the date of the highway superintendent's letter. It's January 7th, not January 11th, in the first result.
Yep.
Yep, that one's for sure.
But I have no problem with the other. I think that it makes perfect sense to just put down the first pay period following this resolution.
That's the habit I'd like to get into, and that one got missed on this. It just works best most of the time. And then we will find out the date of the retirement if it's the 10th or 11th, and update that as well. So we will amend it accordingly. Any questions on the amendments?
Just an issue that this gives rise to. I'm not aware that we did anything recognizing Ed McKinley and his years of service prior to his retirement, and I would like to just mention that. Maybe that's something we could do at our workshop session to pass a resolution.
Very good point. That stayed within the department and never got to the board as anything to act on.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
George Benedek.
Yes.
Mark Menon.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 01060.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh code enforcement officials are required to maintain their license, and whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in regulations. Therefore, it is resolved that Stephen Imhoff and Alan Reese, code enforcement officers, be allowed to attend Northern Adirondack Code Enforcement Officials Association 12th Annual Educational Conference, held from March 1st to March 4th in Lake Placid, New York, at the Crown Plaza Resort and Golf Club. And it is further resolved that $480 for the conference and $699.94 lodging and meals be charged to the code and zoning budget. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer.
Motion?
For the purpose of discussion, I'll move the resolution.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix. Any discussion?
This was something that was brought up by Mr. Lemoyne. I do believe it has merit, it should be discussed. He brought up the fact that we're wondering why, since we have two, for lack of a better definition, same-sex employees growing up, why they aren't sharing a room. Why is the town being asked to have separate rooms for these two employees when the cost could be shared and savings realized? I don't want to take your question away from you, Paul, but I know that it was one that was brought up at work session. I didn't see any other supporting document come down since then.
I think it's important that we have latitude here. If they chose to stay together, that would be one thing. But there are certain difficulties for some people rooming with other people they don't know or that they're not familiar with on a basis of, a family or whatever. And I'm not saying that there isn't anybody that would room with someone else, but there's some things, whether it's a physical thing or something, whether it's somebody being able to stay awake or being able to actually sleep. I think it's important that they get the rest. I believe that it's important that they're there for the whole conference, and I believe it's important that they are able to intermingle with all of the other people there and gain as much knowledge as possible. And the other thing is, the people these two gentlemen are going to this particular conference, and they're getting all of their training for the whole year, 24 credit hours, which they won't need anymore. If they were going to New York City, it would cost considerably more to get that or even less of the training. So I think this is an excellent way of doing it, and in this case, I don't see any problem with them having separate rooms.
And I'm just going to spin off what Tom is saying. As I looked at this a little closer, we discussed it a little bit in-house. I think it is the desirable situation to encourage employees, staff to help cut costs by sharing a room. But I agree, and I hadn't really thought through it that way. There might very well be personal reasons why a room may not want to be shared, and everything you mentioned, Tom. It could be allergies, it could be any number of items that would be personal, and I don't think it would behoove us to force it or to try and get some disclosure or doctors know why you can't. And beyond that, I think with other situations, we haven't done anything than encourage where people wanted to share a room, and if it didn't work, it didn't work.
I'll renew my issues with this being in Lake Placid and the fact that we're not driving back and forth every day. I mean, Lake Placid is 50 minutes from Plattsburgh. We have a four-wheel drive Jeep Cherokee sitting out in the parking lot that's perfectly capable. I mean, there's plenty of other people that drive a lot farther. Look at the people that are driving around Crown Point Bridge right now, and they're making it to work on time and making the sacrifice to do that. I spoke to an architect just the other day who attends the very same conference with a couple of his personnel from Plattsburgh, and they drive back and forth every day. They attend the entire conference, they network afterwards, they do all of those things, they get the same accreditation that they're supposed to get and need, and and they drive back and forth every night. They have meals at home, so we're not spending that money. I have no problem buying lunch, and I'll further that by saying I think Alan and Steve do a really good job in their department. I'm just not in favor of spending $700 in lodging when our backs were against the wall with sales tax last year. I'm just not in favor of that. There's no reason this can't be driven.
Anyone have any other thoughts or comments? Okay. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes?
Gerard Benedek,
Yes.
Mark Nanick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
No.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 61.
Whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in regulations, therefore it is resolved that Nikki Martin of the accounting department and Gerard Benedek Council would be allowed to attend a seminar on human resources in Burlington, Vermont, to be held on February 17, 2010 at the Hilton Hotel on Battery Street. It is further resolved that $298 for the conference and $30 for meals be charged to the general budget fund.
Have a motion.
So,
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood. Any discussion?
I will
Yeah,
not be spending
questioning
tonight.
whether we should. Do we have a charge in here for taking the ferry?
Yes.
Okay,
2425.
okay.
That's why Gerard's cost more.
It's on Gerard's sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I had brought this to Nikki's attention and Gerard's, and I'm very pleased they're able to attend. I know you all got copies of the program, but human resources and dealing with HR issues, Family Medical Leave Act, ADA, and on and on. There were some good insurance items in here, employee coaching and so on, discipline. It's the kind of topic, I don't know if we've had anyone attend a workshop in that area, in an area that certainly leaves us open to some concerns and questions. And I think over these last 4 years, we've all been at a session, maybe in New York City or at Potsdam, when there are meetings and we gather what we can. But I'm pleased you're willing to take the time. I think, as everybody knows, these things hopefully are pleasant and enjoyable, but taking the time to do it when you could do any number of things, personal or work, it still takes time. And this is a good one.
Marty is correct. The resolution does not cover the cost of the ferry.
It's in the,
It's in the travel
Travel
budget, but
request.
it's not in the resolution.
That's
so-
why I brought it up.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
see it
okay.
in the resolution.
Right.
It is not,
It's not in the
I don't know if we need that, well, I guess we should, because you're listing the other things. Yeah.
If we don't put it in the resolution, then what we would have to do is deal with it.
Good point, I didn't pick that up at all, Marty. I flipped to the travel voucher, saw it there, and said, sure. So we will amend the resolution to include the cost of the Lake Champlain transportation, which is $24.25. Anything else? There's no logic. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Benedek,
Yes.
Mark Nanick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 62.
Whereas the town board has before in its project in the town of Plattsburgh located on Cumberland Head, and whereas the determination of the effect of said project or action on the environment is necessary to determine whether draft environmental impact statement is required. And whereas the effect of the project or action on the environment are to be examined by all involved agencies. And whereas Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law, State Environmental Quality Review Act, Section 8-0113, provides for the review of any action to determine the effect of said action on the environment, along with any related administrative procedures for the implementation, authorizing, or approval of said action. And whereas said Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law provides for an involved agency to review any action for the purpose of determining the effect of said action on the environment. And whereas said determination of the effect of said action on the environment will be necessary to determine whether a draft environmental impact statement is required. Whereas the town board is considered an involved agency in accordance with the state and local laws for the purpose of assessing the effect of this project on the environment and whether or not said effect is significant enough to warrant the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. And whereas the consulting engineer for Clinton County has determined that the project is unlisted action in accordance with the environmental review procedures, and coordinated review shall be conducted with all involved agencies. Now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby receive and place on file completed Appendix C, E, A, F, and other related materials submitted requesting the lead agency status on behalf of Clinton County. And it is further resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, after review of the completed EAF and related material, does hereby determine and agree for Clinton County to serve as lead agency with respect to construction and rehabilitation of ferry board docking facilities on Cumberland Head. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to sign all related paperwork agreeing to have Clinton County act as lead agency on this project, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the county and a copy given to the town of Plattsburgh Planning Department.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadin, any discussion?
I want to beat Tom to the punch. There's a typo or misspelling on the second to the last resolve. On the end of the second to the last sentence there, rehabilitation of ferry boat docking facilities, not ferry board docking facilities. I'm also interested to know why is it that Clinton County is applying for lead agency status on this? This is a project that will be completely contained within the town of Plattsburgh. I mean, I understand it's on lakefront, but I'm not aware, so I guess I'm looking for clarification.
I can't respond to that with any sort of authority, but I know because there's a county-wide impact by the ferry service, and I believe they're anticipating stimulus funds to help with the cost, so the cost will end up not being transferred to passengers. The county might be involved with the funding as well. And as I said, I can't say that without, with any authority as to the why, but I know those things are taking place. Mr. Von Bargen could probably give us the best answer, as this is our town planning board's recommendation. And it might be a workload that they didn't feel
You answered the
necessary
question
to
when
do.
you told me it's a recommendation of the planning board.
It is the
I'm
recommendation.
satisfied with that. Okay.
There was the one item that you brought up at the work session, though, about commenting on the exit from the building. And
I have relayed that and indicated Mr. Mannix and the board's concern that that's considered when they get to that point, and said they didn't have any draft architectural design or site plans at all at this point, so they couldn't share it. But they are aware of the concern.
on the short environmental assessment form, on number 7, just can anybody tell me what that means? Not with land affected, 1.5 acres, then ultimately 0.5 acres? 0.5 acres in addition?
I can't answer that question.
In the letter.
I can get the answer for you.
It's not going to affect the resolution
Mhm.
per se, but if it's
I
something that
would-
we should
I would assume that
make note to
maybe
them.
they're gonna have to work on, this would be temporary, and I think this would be permanent.
Yep. That makes some sense.
They will
Every
be
once in a while,
moving,
these large-
they'll be moving a fair amount of spoil and the
Exactly.
like, what they're doing.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Moy,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 63.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh has been named the recipient of a grant through the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program from New York State Office of Community Renewal and New York State Housing Trust Fund Corporation, awarded to Schuler Systems LP of Plattsburgh, and designated for the purchase of machinery and equipment, staff training, and program delivery and administration with the assistance with Schuler System Expansion Product. And whereas the town seeks the services of a firm or individual to assess in the administration, management, program delivery of the block grant, to work with the local development corporation and aid in compliance requirements and issues as indicated in the request for proposal. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, does hereby authorize supervisor to solicit, receive proposals for the administration, program delivery, technical assistance of the grant as indicated in the attached proposal.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wood. Do you have copies of the proposal with your resolution this evening? Did you get the copy on item under miscellaneous where I made a couple of edits, as well as the very last page, there was a correction on number 4. I don't know if it was copied before I did some pen comments or
No, mine says.
No, it wasn't, okay.
I know we brought this up at the meeting, but
Yeah.
any, or, should be any,
Yeah.
or all proposals. That's, I assume the change that you mean.
Yes,
I wrote it in, but I don't have another
Okay.
copy, but I don't need another copy.
so it's, all right, and then number 4 was request of proposals, changed to request for proposals. Very good. Any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Paul Moy,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution 64.
Whereas a public hearing was held before the town board of the town of Plattsburgh at the Cumberland Head Elementary School, 1187 Cumberland Head